Have you ever experienced that gut-wrenching moment when you realize someone you deeply care about has completely disappeared from your life? That hollowing sensation when you discover that an INFJ, known for their warmth, empathy, and seemingly infinite patience, has suddenly become unreachable? The truth is, this didn't happen overnight. It's a culmination of repeatedly crossing boundaries that were likely invisible to you, but absolutely vital to them. Today, we're going to unravel this complex phenomenon and understand exactly what happens when someone pushes an INFJ past their limits. The intricate nature of INFJ boundaries. INFJ possess one of the most sophisticated and nuanced boundary systems among all personality types. Unlike the clear-cut, verbally expressed boundaries that many other types establish, INFJ boundaries exist in layers, much like the rings of an ancient tree. Each ring represents a different level of emotional and psychological protection, carefully crafted through years of experience and self-reflection. These boundaries aren't just simple rules or preferences. They're integral parts of the INFJ's emotional ecosystem. At their core, INFJ boundaries serve multiple purposes. They act as filters, helping INFJ manage their extraordinary sensitivity to others' emotions and energy. They function as protective barriers, shielding their rich inner world from those who might not understand or respect it. Most importantly, these boundaries help INFJ maintain their sense of self in a world that often demands too much of their emotional energy. The early warning system. Subtle signs of boundary violations. When their boundaries are first crossed, INFJ typically don't respond with immediate confrontation or direct communication. Instead, they employ a sophisticated system of subtle cues and gentle redirections. They might begin to limit their availability, responding to messages with increasing delay. Their usually profound and insightful conversations might become more surface level, lacking the depth that typically characterizes their interactions. These early warning signs often manifest in physical ways too. An INFJ might position themselves slightly further away during conversations, cross their arms more frequently, or reduce eye contact. They might start declining invitations to social gatherings they would normally attend, citing vague reasons like needing to recharge or having prior commitments. The emotional accumulation. How boundary violations stack up. What makes boundary violations particularly devastating for INFJ is their tendency to accumulate experiences rather than process and release them immediately. Each transgression gets carefully filed away in their mental archive, creating a comprehensive pattern of behavior that becomes increasingly difficult to ignore. This isn't about holding grudges. It's about pattern recognition and self-preservation. The accumulation process works like a psychological ledger. Every time someone crosses a boundary, it creates an entry in this ledger. Small violations might be noted with an asterisk, while more significant breaches get highlighted in bold. Over time, these entries create a complete picture of how much respect and understanding someone has for the INFJ's needs and limitations. The physical and emotional manifestation of repeated boundary violations. As boundary violations continue, INFJ begin to experience a range of physical and emotional symptoms that may not be immediately apparent to others. Physically, they might experience persistent headaches, unusual fatigue, or disrupted sleep patterns. Their typically robust immune system might weaken, leading to more frequent illnesses. These physical manifestations are direct results of the emotional and energetic drain they're experiencing. Emotionally, the impact runs even deeper. INFJ might find themselves struggling with increased anxiety, particularly in social situations where they previously felt comfortable. Their natural ability to empathize and connect with others might become muted, as though a protective filter has been placed over their emotional sensors. They might experience periods of unexpected emotional overwhelm, where seemingly minor incidents trigger disproportionate responses. The internal struggle. Balancing empathy with self-protection. One of the most challenging aspects of boundary violations for INFJ is the internal conflict it creates. Their natural inclination is to understand, forgive, and help others grow. When someone repeatedly crosses their boundaries, they often find themselves caught in a tug-of-war between their desire to maintain harmony and their need for self-preservation. This internal struggle manifests in various ways. They might spend hours analyzing situations from multiple angles, trying to find ways to accommodate others without completely sacrificing their own needs. They might create elaborate systems of justification for others' behavior, often at the expense of their own well-being. This constant internal negotiation can be exhausting and ultimately unsustainable. The breaking point. When understanding turns to protection, eventually, if boundary violations continue, INFJ reach a critical turning point. This isn't a gradual shift, but rather a sudden crystallization of all their accumulated experiences and observations. It's as if all the pieces of a complex puzzle suddenly fall into place, revealing a clear picture they can no longer ignore. At this point, their focus shifts dramatically from understanding and accommodating to protecting and preserving. The energy they once spent trying to maintain the relationship gets redirected into creating distance and establishing firmer boundaries. This shift is often invisible to others until it's too late to address. The INFJ door slam. The ultimate boundary response. The infamous INFJ door slam is perhaps the most misunderstood aspect of their boundary system. It's not simply about cutting someone off or giving them the silent treatment. It's a complete emotional and psychological disconnection that occurs when an INFJ determines that maintaining a connection with someone is too costly to their well-being. This process involves more than just external actions. It's an internal rewiring of their emotional connections. They carefully detach each emotional thread that once connected them to the person, processing and releasing each connection with incredible thoroughness. Once complete, this disconnection is nearly impossible to reverse, as it represents a fundamental shift in how the INFJ views and relates to the person in question. The aftermath. Rebuilding and strengthening boundaries. After implementing a door slam or experiencing significant boundary violations, INFJ typically enter a period of intense self-reflection and rebuilding. This phase is crucial for their emotional recovery and personal growth. They often spend significant time analyzing what led to the situation, identifying early warning signs they might have missed, and developing more effective strategies for protecting their boundaries in the future. During this period, INFJ might seem completely withdrawn from social interaction. This isn't just about avoiding the person who crossed their boundaries. It's about creating the space they need to reconstruct their emotional and energetic defenses. They might engage in solitary activities that help them process their experiences, such as journaling, meditation, or creative pursuits. The evolution of protection. How INFJ adapt and grow. Through the experience of having their boundaries repeatedly crossed, INFJ often emerge stronger and more self-aware. They develop more sophisticated methods of communicating their needs, even though this may still be done in their characteristically subtle way. They become more discerning about who they allow into their inner circle, and they're more likely to enforce their boundaries earlier in relationships. This evolution isn't about becoming less caring or more distant. Instead, it's about developing a healthier balance between their natural desire to help others and their need for self-protection. They learn to recognize that maintaining strong boundaries actually enables them to be more effective in their relationships in their natural role as counselors and advisors. Rebuilding trust. The path to healing. For those who wish to repair a relationship with an INFJ after crossing their boundaries, understanding the depth of the damage is crucial. Trust can be rebuilt, but it requires a fundamental shift in how the relationship operates. This means not only respecting their current boundaries, but also being proactive in identifying potential boundary issues before they arise. The process of rebuilding trust with an INFJ involves consistent, long-term demonstration of understanding and respect. It requires genuine acknowledgement of past transgressions without excuses or justifications. Most importantly, it demands patience, as INFJ need time to process and verify that changes in behavior are genuine and sustainable. The art of prevention. Creating healthy relationships with INFJ. Understanding and respecting INFJ boundaries isn't just about avoiding negative consequences. It's about creating the foundation for a deeply rewarding relationship. When their boundaries are respected, INFJ offer unprecedented levels of loyalty, insight, and emotional support. They become invaluable allies in both personal and professional contexts, offering unique perspectives and unwavering support. To maintain healthy boundaries with an INFJ, it's essential to pay attention to both their verbal and nonverbal cues. Learn to recognize when they need space, even if they don't explicitly ask for it. Understand that their need for solitude isn't a rejection but a necessary part of their emotional maintenance. Most importantly, respect their depth and complexity without trying to simplify or change their nature. Conclusion: the delicate balance of INFJ relationships. Understanding what happens when you repeatedly cross an INFJ's boundaries isn't just about avoiding negative consequences. It's about appreciating the intricate nature of these unique individuals. Their boundary system, while complex, serves a vital purpose in allowing them to maintain their emotional well-being while continuing to offer their gifts to the world. For those lucky enough to have INFJ in their lives, respecting their boundaries isn't a limitation but an opportunity. It's a chance to develop a relationship characterized by deep understanding, mutual respect, and profound connection. When you honor an INFJ's boundaries, you're not just avoiding their door slam. You're opening the door to one of the most enriching relationships possible. Remember, the goal isn't to walk on eggshells around INFJ, but to develop a genuine understanding of their needs and limitations. When you do this successfully, you'll find that their boundaries aren't walls keeping you out, but rather guidelines helping you navigate a relationship with one of the most insightful and caring personality types in the Myers-Briggs spectrum. In the end, the key to maintaining healthy relationships with INFJ lies in understanding that their boundaries are not signs of weakness but essential tools for maintaining their ability to be the compassionate, insightful, and deeply caring individuals they naturally are. By respecting these boundaries, you're not just preserving a relationship. You're nurturing a connection that has the potential to be profoundly transformative for both parties involved. If you've experienced the complexity of INFJ boundaries firsthand, whether as an INFJ or someone close to one, share your story in the comments below. Your experience might help others navigate similar situations. Don't forget to subscribe for more insights into personality types and relationship dynamics. Together, we can build better understanding and stronger connections.